Hi, this is Mark Newman, Chief Analyst at TM Forum, speaking to you day 3 of DTW Ignite 2023. Very pleased to be joined this morning by Amaia from Vodafone and from Bitwadget at Technotree. And we're going to be giving our thoughts around the adoption of SaaS products in the telco landscape. And Amaia, maybe I can start with you. So from your perspective at Vodafone, what role does SaaS play in terms of helping operators reduce time to market, develop their businesses? Is it an important trend for you?
I think it is, because ultimately as a software offerings help us effectively to avoid the typically high cost of starting and onboarding, building a new service normally in our data centers. So with low to almost no entry cost, we can start experimenting with new products that are out there in the form of as a service. And then we can, thanks to the as a service offerings being highly scalable and globally available, we can easily launch products, scale it up and down based on the dynamics of the markets, demand based on events, and also extend our offering in different regions quite fast compared to more traditional approaches that require data centers or data center partners.
How well used is the SaaS model today within Vodafone? Is it still quite early days, or are you getting relatively mature in terms of how much you use SaaS?
I think because Vodafone is a very big company, I think in general, I work in a couple of different departments, both in digital and enterprise products, and adoption is pretty much there, particularly for collateral services that help us to be fast. For instance, security scanning, CI/CD pipelines. That's not the core of our business. We are not there to create CI/CD tools from the scratch. So partnering with SaaS services is really helping us adopt DevOps practices through SaaS tooling and deliver services faster, similar with the scanning tool. So I think it's pretty much in use nowadays by every team to drive that change in how we become a software company.
Yes. And Bitwadget, if I can turn to you, so clearly you work with Vodafone and you're in a privileged position of seeing the world of CSPs and this adoption of SaaS model. Do you see it being used uniformly? Are some operators ahead of others? Do they have different use cases and reasons for adopting telco SaaS?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things when we talk about SaaS is one of the conversations that it always starts with like cost and like thinking about a migration to cloud kind of a conversation. But if you really think about it, like a lot of the operators, movement to SaaS or movement to cloud by itself is not the central objective.
No, exactly.
It is more about driving business. It's more about driving new value to the business. And that's where most of the innovations are coming. So when we conceive SaaS today, it's not about putting our software on cloud. That has to be there. But at the same time, leveraging the capabilities of the cloud and also conceiving a stack which is digitally native to make sure that it can immediately give you value propositions in enabling new business models. And a lot of our discussions and conversations right now are around how can they launch a new business, how can they offer new services to customers and as quickly as possible. So I would say the time to market is one of the key factors.
And are there any challenges internally with the adoption of telco SaaS? Is it embraced by everybody in the organization? Are there any challenges in terms of persuading operators that SaaS is the right model?
Well, quite frankly, there is a lot of acceptance now about SaaS.
Yeah.
Of course, you need to prove that you are actually solving a business problem. But once that is done, I think there's a lot of acceptance around SaaS. Now, the real debate is like whether the SaaS will be on cloud or on-prem.
Yes.
So there is, now we offer hybrid models where you can offer SaaS on cloud as well as on private environments. And I think that's where some conversations happen. But once you prove the business model, once you prove the value, I don't think there's a lot more acceptance now than what it was a couple of years ago.
So that discussion on-prem in cloud, does that discussion exist in Vodafone? And I think, but you are cloud converts. I mean, there's a strong cloud-first strategy, I think, at Vodafone.
Yes, I think the main challenges are around deciding private or public cloud is, I think from the perspective of Vodafone in this case, the two questions that are always coming are around security and privacy. So making sure that we are compliant with regulations and that the providers of the tools are compliant. So when we adopt tools, we have to go through a very strict security process to assess who we are partnering with and how they operate their products. And then the other aspect is the transformation to moving from a CapEx model to an OpEx model, because SaaS offering, particularly in public cloud, any as a service becomes OpEx, and that's a total transformation of how finance are managed in the company. So,
well, and leave that one for another discussion, I think, because that's a difficult discussion. But just finally, so there's lots of talk at the shows around AI and embedding AI. So where does AI sit in the SaaS discussion?
So our take is that there has always been the discussion about data, AI, and how to. I think it all boils down to what are the actionable insights and what's the action and what is the objective that you can drive. And from our perspective, we feel that AI has to be seamless into the customer journeys, seamless, embedded, and which doesn't come in your way. I think the best AI in our view is the AI is invisible to the eyes, but it's always there, serving the purpose. Ubiquitous in many ways. I think that's what Technotree is trying to drive at the moment.
That's an interesting point, isn't it? So we almost take it as a given that there'll be AI. I mean, is that the way we're headed, do you think?
I think it is, because ultimately it's about frictionless.
Yes.
You want, in the case of customer care, for instance, we want both the online experience, but also the experience with the agent to provide the best customer service. And if that goes through having a virtual assistant that feels native to the user, or having an agent that is having a dialogue with our customers, but it's kind of supported, but AI provided information to be at their best. What the customer wants is to have a natural exchange.
Absolutely.
And I think also from an operational point of view, when we are using AI augmented SaaS capabilities for operating our network for security and cybersecurity threats, ultimately, we don't care if it's artificial intelligence or any other technology behind. We want it to be fast, we have to want it to be frictionless, and we want to be easy to use.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Amaia, Birojit, thank you so much for your time and thoughts this morning. Thank you.